Well, you would think record harvest would be good news for farmers, but this year's record-breaking corn crop, it's actually creating a massive problem. The top issue, prices are already at 5-year lows, and now with more grain flooding the market, growers warn they could be pushed to the breaking point. Joining us now is Stu Swanson, president of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and an Iowa farmer himself. Stu, thank you so much for being here. Great to have you this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So we're seeing now the USDA projecting a record 16.7 billion bushel corn crop year. When you take into account supply and demand, that's having a big impact for farmers like yourself. What does that mean for your bottom line?
Well, certainly we'd never pass up a record crop. I mean, as a farmer, that's how we get paid. So we try to do the best we can and produce the most we can. It has led to a large carryout number of over 2 billion bushels of corn. So we're producing more corn than we have demand for currently. And like you said, that has driven prices down to levels that we haven't seen for 5 to 6 years. And if you look at the margin between the cost of production and the price of the grain, we're probably looking at, if we sold at current prices, losses between $80 and $100 per acre.
Wow. Yeah. So it's good news in one sense, a successful harvest. But when you talk about corn selling for about $4.50 a bushel, as we outlined there, nearly half of what it was 3 years ago, how much pressure does that put on farmers, especially those who have a major focus on this crop with those margins shrinking, as you said?
Yeah, well, while I grow corn and soybeans here in the north central part of Iowa, it's really a nationwide issue. All the major crops, including corn, soy, rice, cotton, wheat, have all seen the same pressures on them to reducing margins. And things like fertilizer purchases, having to spend the largest number of bushels per corn to buy a ton of fertilizer have stretched us. Other things we have done to try to hold things together by reducing replacement of equipment and increasing borrowings and burning some of the equity have stressed us. And while the farm economy struggles here in Iowa, that probably means that the Iowa economy in general will struggle. They kind of mirror each other.
Right. And, you're making these cuts in other areas. I know at the same time, there are calls now for Congress to pass some legislation that will allow for consumer access to higher blends of ethanol. Also, this push to open new foreign markets for corn. So how is progress along those lines? What do you think about some of those initiatives?
Yeah, both are things that Iowa Corn Growers Association are pushing for. Certainly domestic demand is a way that we can burn through some of these things. If we could get higher blends of ethanol blended fuels, just the year-round E15 availability nationwide would chew up about 500 million bushels of corn. So that would come at no cost to taxpayers, no infrastructure changes needed. We can use the existing liquid fuel system, and it would really save consumers 10 to 15 cents a bushel at the pump.
Yeah. So we heard about some of the cuts that you're making, some of the changes to address this climate. How do you believe farmers like yourself are preparing to ride out this season in this climate? Do you see this as a long-term problem?
It certainly has been historically. We've been through these kind of changes and times in the past, and it's usually a 7 to 10 year cycle. So we're hoping that the trade agreements and things that the administration is working on leads to market access in new markets like India, Japan, Vietnam. But we also want to make sure we keep our current markets open, like Mexico and Canada. We know that the USMCA trade agreement has worked well, and we can see that the future for us to make improvements in prices depends on trade.
Yeah, well, a lot to keep track on, and we certainly will. Stu Swanson, thank you so much for your hard work and for being here this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.